Hi guys, it's the 27th episode of Promptsquad. I'm not going to say month because I know it's taking me ages to go and get this one out, but I really hope you're going to enjoy it. If you remember from almost a couple months ago now, the prompt was pets, suggested by Nadia, and I was really excited to get going on this, even though it took me ages to actually get going, because I absolutely love drawing animals, as you probably know by now, so this was really up my alley, and I think by the look of everybody's entries, it's definitely up some of your guys' alley too, so I'm really excited to show those. But first I'm gonna go into what I made, and yeah, I kind of changed it up a little bit this time. I know I've been quite digital for a while, mainly because of light and heat and just like, you know, the temperature and stuff. I don't really like painting in winter as much, just, you know, here in the UK it seems to be like, you know, you get 2 hours of light and that's it. So yeah, I kind of like emigrated over because of the good weather, and I decided to use these jelly gouache that Emily kindly gifted me. Oh, well, I think it was for Christmas. It was a while back, but I haven't really used them in a video yet. I really like them. They're very like vibrant, very strong colours, and they're quite an interesting, like, very wet texture to them. They're kind of interesting because I always use like the dried version mostly of paints. Like I'll use just dried pans of watercolour. I won't use wet paints very often, so that sounds so odd. But yeah, I normally don't use this style and texture of paint, so it was very fun to kind of like bring these out. And yeah, I kind of got quite excited, you know. As I was sketching Rory, I decided, how about I make him into more of a cartoony character? I kind of wanted to illustrate him and kind of bring some of his life out, if you know what I mean, try and bring some of his character into it. So I was kind of like playing with sketches in my sketchbook, I brought that in, and then I just kind of started painting. You know, I had those rough lines of where I knew, you know, different parts of his fur and his coat, but yeah, I kind of also went a little bit left field and had a bit of fun with it. And also, as I was like thinking of colours, I decided I wanted to kind of experiment a bit with colour, because I've been watching, I guess, a lot of Marco Bucci. If you've seen him here on YouTube, I'll add a link somewhere in the description or on the page or something, but he talks a lot about painting techniques and painting theory, and yeah, it just kind of makes me want to go into that a bit more. So you'd have to let me know if that's something you'd be interested in, like maybe trying out some of the things that he does and working those techniques into illustrations or discussing it, because I would be interested in knowing the theories behind a lot of the Promptsquad members' views on art, like how you make decisions when it comes to colour or light or the composition. I think it's very interesting to hear art theory, especially by people who actually paint and work with art. So yeah, you'll have to let me know what you think. So this one, as I said, it's kind of a mixture of gouache, and then I layered some coloured pencil, mainly because I wanted to kind of clash these smoother like swaths of paint with something quite textured, and I kind of like that if you're using the side of the coloured pencil, it's going to bring out all those grooves in the paint, and I thought that would be nice, especially to kind of depict fur and give him, you know, I like a bit of texture, you know what I'm like if you've seen stuff. So yeah, I quite enjoyed that. Especially I wasn't really sure if I wanted to kind of like add a lot of background and a lot of information, and yeah, even though Rory's a house cat, this kind of like depicts him almost outside. I always kind of like see him, well, basically he lives on my desk in my room, and I have this plant of cattails on my windowsill, and he's always sitting by the window sunning himself, you know, enjoying a bit of the weather like me at the moment. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to illustrate where he's happy, and yeah, just have like a happy little painting of him, just something kind of simple and yeah, just a little bit more based on how I feel at the moment and how I feel with Rory. So yeah, it's kind of on that side. Yeah, and that's basically all I've got to say, I think. I'm so bad at this. It's funny, you know, I only do it like once a month, but I'm always like awkward as anything. I'm always like, what do I say? What do you say in videos? I don't know how people do it. But okay, that's the main thing. If I run out of stuff to say before the music this time, I'm going to play some music and I'm going to come back to talk about everybody's entries and all the cool stuff that they've made. So I'll see you in a minute. That's how it turned out. I hope you really liked watching it. Now I'm going to go into what everybody else created this month for the prompt pets. So first I'm going to start with Holumpa, and I really love how Holumpa has this traditional European children's illustrator style to her art. It's so beautiful, but it's also like a modern take on that style. Like when you think about, when I think about European illustrators, I think I always think about Moomins and like, you know, or like Quentin Blake with the Roald Dahl books. I kind of think about that work, and what I really like about Halumpa's is that she kind of bleeds that into her style, but she also uses digital painting techniques and kind of gives you an idea of this is the way that modern children's illustration is going. I really enjoy seeing that every month, how she's kind of exploring that style and working on that technique. And I think especially with this painting, I love the kind of muted colour palette that she's gone with. I like the fact that she hasn't had to go super vibrant or super strong, kind of like, you know, I definitely would, to try and get attention. Holumpa knows how to use these more greys and browns within her colour palette to still create something really beautiful and really natural and sweet. I think it's just a lovely piece. I really like it, Holumpa. Very nice work this month. Next is Lisbeth, who, like me, decided to draw her cat and used coloured pencils too, which I really liked seeing. I mean, I think there is something about coloured pencils and using something very textured when it comes to depicting fur. So I think maybe we're on the same wavelength there, Lisbeth, because I agree with you. But what I really like about Lisbeth is that because she's stayed with coloured pencils, she's been able to blend in so many different colours into the coat, and I think it's a great way of capturing light and really capturing the kind of difference within natural, or in the natural world. I think it's really interesting to see how she's brought in the yellows and the pinks and the greens and everything into the coat, and yet I don't think that they're distracting. I think that they just bring in this life and this vibrancy into how she's drawn her cat. So yeah, I really like that idea. I think it works really fantastically. I was so happy to see that Tara had been able to join this month, especially when I saw this painting of a dog. I mean, I'm so impressed by it. I mean, there's always this like magical, ephemeral feel to Tara's paintings anyway, so I was really excited to see her kind of take something from the real world and bring it into her style, and I think it's so exciting to see how she's done that. I mean, the eyes of her dog and the nose and the mouth, everything about it is so realistic, but also she's done it with purples, she's done it with blues, and she's made it so dreamlike, and yeah, it's just so fantastical, so dreamy, and I really love that about it. It really gives a sense of the dog's personality as well as just how it looks. So yeah, I really like that about her piece. Dave, I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why it always feels obvious until I see it. Do you know what I mean? But I love Dave's work on this, and his Ace Ventura style definitely makes me want to rewatch those films. I don't think I've seen them in like over 10 years at least, but they were so funny. And of course Dave picked that because he's so funny. So of course it was. And yeah, I really like that Dave's also included his like process from TikTok. I'm not gonna like add the full music, you'll have to go there to enjoy it in its perfect form, but because I just want to compliment Dave. I want to say how good his work is, and yeah, I really like how Dave's kind of taking on this very specific style. Like, you know, it's Dave's art. Now, I've always thought that you can tell it's Dave's art because it's humorous. He's always had this great eye for making an illustration funny, but I think especially with this one and the way that his current art is, I like how vibrant and cartoony it is in one side, but also it's always got like levels of realism. There's never like too much messing about with proportions, too much messing about with the subject so that you can't actually recognise it. It's always recognisable, and I think that's a fantastic just skill that Dave has. I really like seeing it, so well done, Dave. Far Photos is part of the cat club along with us. I think a lot of us have cats, shockingly enough, in this team. Who could have believed it, eh? But yeah, I love Far Photos' way of illustrating her cat because she's really worked on this idea of the soft texture clashing against hard textures. So when she's wanted information to be pulled out and really like taken in by the viewer, she's done it. You know, the eyes, the nose, I think especially the things that are coming towards the screen, and they add this vibrancy and add this life and power to her art. I think it's really exciting how she plays with line weights and line depths and softness to create this really powerful piece of art. I really love the way that she's depicted her cat. I think it's fantastic. I mean, Emily created two for this, but I think I'm going to have to censor out the first one, Emily. No. I mean, it's a great piece, Emily, but it's going. It can't be on this. It's a family-friendly channel. I'm sorry. You gotta go. But luckily she created 2 pieces, so we can show that one off. You'll have to push her to see what the original looked like. But yeah, Emily's second piece, both are lovely illustrations of her pet cow Bessie. Oh, aren't we lovely to see Bessie? I'm so happy to see her. I love the way that Emily has decided to illustrate her cow with this like coloured pencil texture that she's done. I mean, I had to ask her, is this digital? Is this traditional? But it is digital, which I find amazing, the level of texture and just the roughness of it. I really like the way that she's illustrated this. It's got a almost childlike playfulness to it, which I really like. So yeah, I love Bessie too, so it was great to see her, Emily. Isaiah or Carter, I don't know which one you want to be known, Carter, you gotta tell me. But he created an amazing piece of art for this month's prompt of his cat too. He's part of Cat Club. I'm going to start thinking we're going to be called Cat Squad or something, but yeah, he added his beautiful cat too. And what I really liked about Carter's take on his illustration of his pet was the way that he used a similar brush technique with the background and the foreground. So you have this kind of stormy, wet, watercolory texture in the background and on the cat. So you have this link between the two. But then he's gone, okay, the cat though has to pull out. It has to be differentiated from the background. It has to be alive on its own. And by doing that, he's thought, okay, I'm going to bring in a second medium of the pens and add these thin textured lines to give the fur this like a texture, like a feeling to it. I think that's such a clever idea. Like I just think it works so well, and I think it's a really smart way of playing again with line art, with thinking about how do I want this composition to work. And yeah, I love seeing how Carter experiments and how he thinks of different techniques to make something powerful, make something work well. And yeah, I really like how he illustrated his cat. It's very cute. I kind of want like a pet meet-up after this. It's been a bit of a troublesome month for that. Just want to see everyone's pets. TryRob, aka my mum, decided to do a beautiful embroidery painting, or line thread painting. Thread painting, isn't it? She did a beautiful piece of embroidery, okay, based on my sister's pet Robovsky hamster called Domino, and I love it. I have my own lovely illustrated piece by my mum, which I'll quickly flick up somewhere, of my pet Rory, and it's just fantastic what she can do. Like, the level of detail that she can add with these individual bits of embroidery thread to create fur, I think it's insanely detailed and just it's beautiful. I love the layering of all these different colours. It really brings it to life. And another thing I really like about this one is the way that she's illustrated the hand that's holding it. Like, she's used these like thicker line weights of that to give the details, but it's not so much so that it's pulling away from the key thing that you want to look at, which is the hamster. So it's kind of like a mixture of the abstract and the real, and also these thin levels of thread against thicker levels of thread. I think it's really smart, really nice design, and it gives it kind of like a modern feel, which I really like too. It's very like minimalist and modern, and I love the vibrancy of the colours of it. I think it's fantastic. It's really cool. I bet Fran's very excited by it as well. I'm excited to hear her opinion of it. I mean, ArtOfTroy was kind of made for this project, let's be honest, because if you check out his Instagram page, he's got so many beautiful pet portraits on there. I mean, he is a master of the pet portrait. I feel like he really should have been hosting this episode. But, you know, until everyone decides they want to start doing these with me, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, ArtOfTroy's one is absolutely beautiful. He always captures like the essence of pets, not just like in his beautiful like realistic style, but also they're just very lifelike. They just have something about them. And I think the way that he's broken his own background, like he's created that brown, black, like, you know, very sepia tone background, and then brought the animals out. He's like taken the paws out of the structure, taken the head out of the structure to make them really leap from that image. I think it's a really smart way of doing it. And yeah, I imagine, you know, the people who got that from you, Troy, must have been very fucking happy, because I know I would have been. It looks amazing. It's a fantastic piece, and yeah, definitely check out some of his others as well. I could have filled up the entire video with them. And last but not least is Nadia, and I'm really excited to show Nadia's one, not just because obviously she always creates beautiful art, but I really like the way that she's taken on this prompt, because it's completely individual, it's completely like abstract but exciting, and I really like that it's almost like a study of form, like a study of colour and form, which I just find it so exciting. It's so interesting to see. I think the thing I love most about it is the way that Nadia's let the watercolour bleed out like an ink. There's a way of depicting the furs, like the coats of the cats. I think it's such a smart way of showing the lights and darks and tones within them, especially black coats. I think especially, even with white and black coat, I think it's really hard to show how beautiful that coat is on the cat. I think it's really lovely, and by letting it bleed, letting it like spread out, she's really been able to capture cats in such a beautiful way. I think it's fantastic. It's really smart, and yeah, I think it's a really exciting piece. And yeah, that's everybody's entries for pets. I'm really, really happy with how everything turned out. I really hope you guys enjoy doing it too. So now we're gonna go on to the next part, which is let's spin the wheel and see what our next prompt is gonna be. Okay, let's see. Let's spin this wheel and see what we're gonna get. So, oh, okay, so Holumpa is your first one, and it's Best Buddies. Okay, I'm quite excited to do this one. I hope you guys are too. So, okay, Best Buddies. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, let's see what you're thinking. I'm excited. I don't know, maybe illustrate you and your friend, maybe illustrate your own characters. Yeah, I'm really excited. Maybe look into just what that means to you, I guess. Ooh, I'm really excited by this. This is quite an open one. You'll have to excite me with this one. I bet Halumpa will. She always has some really exciting ideas, and yeah. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I like the idea of this. I hope you guys do too. I think the deadline for this one again will be next month, so 1st of July. I really hope that you're going to enjoy this one. I think this is a really interesting one. I think we're going to be, yeah, I'm feeling quite inspired, so I hope you are too. If you'd like to join Promptsquad, this is your first time watching, or you've been a long time or whatever, if you'd like to join in, all you have to do is try and create a piece of art inspired by the prompt Best Buddies. And if you can make it before the 1st of July and give it a hashtag Promptsquad either here or on YouTube, I'll make sure to add it to next video and yeah, show it off, add all of your links as they should be. And yeah, I think it's a really lovely community to join if you're interested. It's a really nice way of making sure you create something and having lots of people, you know, push you and help you. And yeah, it's lovely to always check in with other artists and just be part of an artistic group. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, please give it a go. I'd really love to see what you make. And yeah, that's it for this month's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll hopefully see you again in a month. I hope you're all doing well, enjoy the summer, and bye-bye. I'll see you all soon.